Hello, you are listening to A Woman's Guide, Episode 17. Have you taken self-enhancement to the extreme? What is at the core of these behaviors and practices? What can be done to reverse the excessive need to enhance or modify your appearance? Today's episode is How to Overcome Overindulgence, Part 3. Stay tuned. This is a woman's guide to reclaiming wholeness after sexual abuse. For all of you listening, welcome to the show. I am Simone, your confidant and guide. Thank you for tuning in. Alright, so I thought this would be a really interesting topic to speak about today. I know as women, we like to adorn ourselves, to enhance or modify our bodies in some way for our ideas of beauty and attractiveness, and that's totally okay. I mean, that's absolutely okay. I think that's just a natural characteristic of being a woman. We just like to enhance our beauty. It's just a part of our, I would say, divine identity. We just like to beautify and enhance and make things look pretty, including ourselves, right? And I think it's totally okay, and it's fun. It's absolutely fun, and it's a good thing to, I guess, embellish yourself because it helps you to feel good about yourself as well, right? That's totally cool. But the type of body modification I want to speak about, or body enhancement that I would like to speak about, is the kind that alters or modifies you through artificial means in an unhealthy and in excessive way. Okay, so you can kind of understand where I'm going to with this, right? So what I mean is to possibly have procedures done, like plastic surgery, I would say, like putting foreign objects inside of your body, whether it's implants or injections, with the use of dangerous chemicals or substances, okay, in or on the body to alter the appearance. So these could be pills, pills that are filled with chemicals that are artificial, bleaching creams, and pills that I spoke about, artificial tanning sprays. Those are examples. I mean, I know there's tons of other things that people are using nowadays, but you know what I mean? That's not something that I've informed myself of too much about. But I know there's these type of things that we just do to quote-unquote enhance our look with these dangerous chemicals and these artificial substances. So anything that just interferes or goes against the naturalness of the body, or the natural rhythm of the body, or its functioning, that's what I'm speaking about. Things that interfere or obstruct or damage what it is our bodies are naturally meant to do, or how it naturally functions, how it's naturally predisposed to work. That's what I'm speaking about here, okay? So, before you say that doing things like cutting or dyeing your hair, or waxing your body hair, or piercing your ears, or piercing some other parts of your body, or getting tattoos, applying false eyelashes, that's not really what I'm speaking about. Yes, there's always a risk. There's always going to be a risk for anything that you do to your body that's not naturally occurring. There's always going to be a risk. Okay, so some people are extremely sensitive, so they can react to, let's say, false eyelashes. They would totally, like, their skin or their body would totally react to something like false eyelashes. But to other people, it's absolutely no big deal. Like getting tattoos, and you hear about some people who get their tattoos done, and they go to a place where I guess they're not up to the safety standards or the safety laws, and those needles have been used over and over again, and they can contract some kind of disease or illness, and they can get very, very sick. Of course, I mean, there's always a risk. There's always a risk for doing anything to your body. That's just how it's going to go. especially if you're allowing other people to do it for you, because you don't really know what's going on and you don't know what's happening, so you can't really gauge how healthy or safe it may be. Of course, there's certification and things like that, but I mean, you really don't know because everybody's different, everybody's body is different, and everybody reacts differently to the same thing. So you can't really know. I mean, I can't really sit there and say that, I can't sit here and say that everything is safe. There's only some things that are safe and some things are dangerous. I mean, it really just depends, right? I wanted to get a tattoo for a very long time. I wanted to get tattoos for a very long time, but I changed. You know what I mean? I've always liked art. I'm actually naturally an artist. I'm just very artistic and creative, so I love art. So I've always wanted to have tattoos. Always wanted to get tattoos, but then I decided against it later as I matured and I grew up. And it has nothing to do with me and my age. It's just the way that I developed in my understanding that I don't really want to do that, because first of all, I get quite bored, right? I get quite bored with things. I like to change things around now and then. So if I have a tattoo, I'm stuck with that for life. So I'm just thinking about how would it be when I'm 80 years old and I still have this tattoo on my skin. I don't think I would like that. So that's the main reason. Also is just, I just don't want to do that to my body. I don't want to do that to my body. And I used to pierce my ears, not my ears. I mean, I did pierce my ears, but I used to pierce my skin a lot. I did pierce my skin a lot. Like, I had sort of like it wasn't an addiction, but like, I liked it. I like to pierce myself, but I mean, that's a deeper subject because, well, not necessarily a deeper subject. That goes quite well with what I'm saying, but I did pierce myself a lot because underlying to the deep, deep root, I felt like I needed to do it, but it wasn't because of really the looks of it. I just liked the pain of it. And I know this is what people called a masochism or something like that, where you're inflicting pain on your own self. I said, and I remember saying this to my friend at some point, I said that I like the pain. I like the pain of it. And I'm thinking, now that I'm looking back, I was like, wow, I had some healing to do, because why would I want to inflict pain upon my skin when I didn't have to? I mean, yeah, certain piercings I had were quite pretty, but at the end of the day, when I took my last piercing out, which was in my chest, like it was literally where my sternum is, which is really the breastbone, I put it right there. I had two right there, and the last one I took out, which was severely infected and it was inflamed and it was filled with pus. Sorry for being graphic. I had to take it out. Like, I had to get a doctor to actually take it out for me and stitch it back up. So, I mean, after that, I've said, you know what, I'm not going to do this to my body anymore. I just can't do it. I can't. Yes, and I also had the desire, I've always had the desire, or I've always been this way. I've always liked to be unique. I've always liked to be unique. I don't like looking like other people. I like to look like myself. But part of it was really just because I like the pain. I like to inflict the pain upon myself. So I mean, that really has a deep root. Why would I want to inflict pain upon myself deliberately and consciously? You know, so I really had to get real with myself there to think that, okay, you know what, I'm just doing this and it's not even really for the right reasons. It's not even really for beauty. It's because I want the pain, you know, or like the attention that it gave me or the uniqueness that it gave me. So once I got to that point where I said, all right, you know what, I gotta stop doing this to my body. I gotta stop putting these holes in my body. And I absolutely still love the look of piercings. I really do like it. I love the look of tattoos. Some tattoos, not all of them. But I like that look. I mean, I just like when people, you know, enhance themselves. Or not enhance themselves, but they uniquely express themselves. I still appreciate that. But for me and my body, I just don't want to put myself through any more of that stuff. I just don't need it, right? I absolutely don't think I need it. But this is not about judgments or me sitting here and saying what's wrong and what's right. It's just a matter of what is the risk. What is the risk of doing engaging in these behaviors and practices? What is the risk? Because I saw with myself that I had a piercing right in my sternum. Like it was right over my breastbone, my breastbone, right between my breast, basically. And once it got infected, I mean, like that's really a not so good place to put a piercing, because it gets infected. It gets infected, and I mean, if you have breasts, it's going to get, hot, and it's, things are going to grow in that area. You're going to sweat. That's just how it goes. You know what I mean? That was not a very good place to put a piercing. So, I mean, I was just thinking to myself, if my body didn't sit there and fight off this infection, and literally I would see that it was pushing it out. It was pushing it out of my skin. My body was pushing this piercing close to the surface of my skin. In fact, that was the first piercing I had. I had two piercings on my sternum, one over the other, one on top of the other. Not on top of the other, one that was closer to my neck and one that was closer down within my cleavage. And the first one got really, really infected, and that one I pulled out myself, which is pretty gruesome. But yeah, it got so infected that my body just literally pushed it to the surface. Like you would literally see the anchor of the, I don't even remember what the type of piercing it's called right now. I'm sort of tired right now, but you would see the end, like the anchor of that piercing sticking out through my skin because my body was pushing it out. It was saying, hey, I don't like this. Get rid of this. So I had to pull it out myself. It's so gruesome, right? The things I did to myself. But the second one, yeah, that actually was, sorry, I apologize. That also did the same thing. That piercing also did the same thing where it was pushing it out, and there was pus, and I had to drain it out, and I had to sanitize it, and I just got to the point where I said, okay, this thing is never going to be back in the same place that it was in, and it's causing me a lot of discomfort. So I said, all right, you know what, I just need to get rid of this. So that's when I went to the hospital, or I went to the doctor, and I actually, it was a hospital, but I did see a doctor. It wasn't like in the emerge or anything like that, but I did see a doctor at a walk-in clinic, and he took it out for me. He numbed the area and he took it out for me, and then he stitched it right back up. And I said, my God, what am I doing to myself? I said, why am I doing this to myself? So anyway, yes. So ultimately, I always make these episodes because it's always based off of something that I can relate to and something that I think I should share. But anyway, let me just get on with what I'm saying. I really can talk a lot. Okay, so basically, I'm just saying, I'm speaking about those extreme, dangerous, or semi-dangerous practices or procedures that can have a devastating effect over time, or in the first time that you do it. It's something like that. So let's try to define what the reason is for these kind of behaviors, and why we need to take it to these extreme, to the measure of ourself. Well, first of all, let me just once again remind you that this is not about just piercing your ears or putting on makeup or false eyelashes or just doing anything that you know what I mean, those type of things that are pretty benign. Not speaking about that. Anyway, so what is the reason? What is the root? What would cause us to do this to ourselves? Well, I know that it's inadequacy. I know that it's inadequacy or security. Okay? I know that for a fact. That's where it starts, okay? But I think it's a little further than that. I believe it's a little bit further than that. I think that it's self-hate. I really believe it's self-hate. That's what I believe. Some people may not agree. That's totally cool, but that's just what I believe. I believe it's self-hate. If you're going to go to that extreme, if you're going to do things with excess where you feel like you need to do that to yourself, the way that I would determine this is why would you put yourself, and we're speaking about extreme behaviors and extreme practices here, why would you put yourself at a risk or a hazard or seriously creating a health problem or even death just for the sake of appearance? Why would you do that? If you really think about that, why would you put yourself at such a risk and a hazard? Okay? Now, mind you, because I'm speaking about surgeries and procedures and things like that, where you go and you get something done for the sake of appearance. And I understand that there are times where people are sick and they have a health issue and they must go under the knife in order to save their own life, right? They need a heart transplant, or they need to cut something out of their system or their bodies, or something needs to be fixed or realigned so that they can continue to live their life, or they can once again be healthy. And there's always a risk for those surgeries. There's always a risk. There's something that you have to sign to say, you know what, I'm agreeing that there's a risk here, and I could actually complicate things further, or I can even die. So I understand that. You understand? I know that that can happen. But when you deliberately and consciously put yourself in a position where you're going to put yourself at health risk, not just from the surgery or the procedure, but after that, and how your body may have an adverse effect, why would you do that for the sake of appearance? Why would you do that? Why would you consciously, deliberately do that for the sake of your appearance? Your appearance must be of the utmost importance for you to risk your well-being, okay? To risk your well-being to attain whatever self-worth or attraction or desirability that you think that you would receive from that. Think about that. It must be there's got to be some remnants of self-hate there for you to think that the only way that I can be lovable or worthy or attractive is to put myself at such a risk when I don't have to. Just because you think that it is worth it to you. You think it's worth it to you to put yourself at such a risk to attain these things that you so desperately need. And of course, going to the absolute extreme, there are some people that literally get procedures done where they totally look like a different person after. These people are spending like $500,000 on procedures. Canadian dollars, that's a lot of money. That's tons and tons and tons of money. They're putting themselves at an absolute risk. Okay? When they're totally altering their appearance, and they're altering themselves to the point that you no longer look the way you once did. You no longer look the way you did naturally. To totally distort your body and distort yourself, and to consciously do that, that's got to be some kind of self-hate. I can't see it any other way. Okay, if you're making yourself look completely different from how you are genetically predisposed to look, what your genes are telling your body to do, because that's what it's your body's predisposed to looking a certain way because of those genes and that DNA of that's how you're supposed to look. And if you're making yourself look completely different, okay, completely different to what it is you naturally look like, to me, that's really disturbing. That's really disturbing, because there are people who literally change races. Like, you can be, let's say, a white woman, and you get procedures done to look like a black woman. And it's like, whoa, what happened here? I thought you were a white woman. How is it that you look like a black woman now? Like, that's kind of disturbing. Or vice versa, a black woman looking like a white woman, or some other people looking like some other person. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. The point is that you are not looking anything like you're naturally supposed to look. That's got to be self-hate. Because if you are thinking to yourself that I'm not okay enough to be me, where I can just leave myself alone and I have to do all these procedures and all of these surgeries to look totally different from what I saw myself in the mirror, to, how I saw myself in the mirror when I was like 15 or 16 or 18. And now that I'm 42, it's like I look like a completely different person. That's a little bit disturbing to me. You gotta understand and allow yourself to be what you naturally are. to accept yourself fully and know that it is okay to love yourself exactly the way you need to love. The, it is okay to love yourself exactly the way you are. Okay? Well, I've already basically explained what my question is. The next question is why is it so damaging to engage in unnatural and excessive body modification and enhancements? Well, I mean, just like I was saying, um, you know, you might get a lot of different health risks. You may damage your body. You may damage your body. Most likely, you will damage your body. Okay? You might at first possibly get one procedure done and everything goes well and your body takes it well and the person did it with finesse and they did it with care and they were very safe and I mean everything is okay and you might be able to get away with it and it's cool and everything, but you know, if you keep doing it, you keep putting yourself more and more at a health risk because you keep altering things in your body and you know, your body, I think your body's very forgiving. Sometimes you do certain things that it doesn't like. It says, okay, that's cool, but just don't do any more. And then you go and you do more, and then your body's like, okay, I don't like this. Stop doing that. So then it starts to react. And that's when you have what we call an adverse effect, where you get something that reverses what it is that you're trying to do or what you're trying to create. Or it just mutates or it grows or something changes and it's not desirable to you because your body is telling you something. It's giving you a message that it doesn't like what you're doing and it wants to protect itself. And it should, right? But it's not to say that if you don't do things, you know, the first time that something won't happen. Yes, it can happen. Not everybody's that lucky to do something the first time and not have it have a reaction. You know, everything you do is a risk. So that is, it's damaging. And I mean, like, there's a whole array of, different side effects and things that can come out of whatever procedure or practice or whatever it is that you're doing. There's so many things that can come out of it. I mean, I've seen some extreme cases. I mean, I really like to look at the extreme of things, if you don't know that already. But I think it serves a good purpose because it really shows us what the end result can be and what we need to really watch out for and what we need to really focus on. Because if you don't look at what can possibly happen from the behavior that you are demonstrating or something, an action that you're taking, any action, any behavior, anything that you do, you have to look at what the end result can be or what can happen as a result of that 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road. If you do it over and over and over, it's good to see extremes. So I guess it serves a purpose that I look at things this way. But what I was saying is that I've seen some things. I mean, I've watched all kinds of documentaries and all kinds of information about all kinds of stuff. Plastic surgeries was quite interesting to me. Like about 4 or 5 years ago, I was watching a lot of things pertaining to people who sit there and modify their body, and I try to sit there and think to myself, why are they doing this? I mean, I know, like, it really comes from insecurity, and a lot of it comes from self-hate, but it's like the extreme that some of these people go through, the extreme, the absolute extreme that they go to, where they don't even look like themselves, and it's very scary and it's disturbing, and not to mention what happens to them, like the things that happen to these people who do these procedures and how it results for them in a very negative way, basically an absolute nightmare. Like the worst case scenario happens to them and they totally regret it. They absolutely regret it. They say, only if I can get back how I was before all these procedures. I totally regret it because now they're sick. They're very, very sick. They have to take pills. They have to constantly be seeing the doctor. They're damaged. They're paralyzed. Some of them, of course, ended up dead. But the ones that are still alive, they totally regret it because they didn't need to do it. They didn't need to do it. They just felt like they had to do that. They felt like they had to do that for themselves, and they have their own reasons, but I'm pretty sure it's because they want to feel worthy, they want to have this desirability and attractiveness, but that is born from feeling that they're not enough to receive attention, so they need to do something to receive that attention. Okay, so they feel if they're desirable, then they can get the love that they want, they can get the attention that they want, they can feel better about who they are on the inside, so that's why they do it. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. And I know that there is a disorder. This is something that I just remembered. There is a disorder. Some people, it's like they can't necessarily help it because they are suffering from a disorder, which is body dysmorphic disorder. Okay, so that just means that in their mind they feel like they have to constantly be changing and enhancing and modifying and fixing and perfecting their body, like it's literally a disorder. And I said it must be. I mean, it must be. I mean, why do you keep doing that to yourself? And personally, I think that you are making yourself look worse. You look a lot better naturally. But then because you're doing all these unnatural, unhealthy things to yourself, you're just looking worse. And they just keep doing more and they think that they're improving, but they're really not. And they're not satisfied. They're just not satisfied. So there really is a disorder where if someone cannot help what they're doing, they can't control it, and they constantly need to be doing something to so-called enhance their body or perfect their body. It's not enough. It's never enough. I believe Michael Jackson had body dysmorphic disorder. I believe that Little Kim had a body dysmorphic disorder. I mean, she's a rapper. I'm pretty sure a lot of you know, or you know who Michael Jackson is. Little Kim had body dysmorphic disorder. Okay, there's tons of other people I can sit here and, I mean, I'm not gonna, I mean, I really shouldn't sit here and diagnose anyone, but I really believe that. I really believe that. I mean, if you're not gonna stop trying to do this to yourself, year after year after year after year after year, and you do not stop, yeah, that's definitely an addiction. Let's just put it that way. It's an addiction to perfecting, quote unquote, perfecting yourself because you're not satisfied. It's an addiction. It's a disorder. It's something that's going on inside your body or your mind that needs to be cleared up there. But anyway, the other damaging part of this engaging in these unnatural behaviors, excessive body modification, is basically on the emotional level or the mental level, is that you do not get the benefit of loving yourself as you are when you're always seeking to alter your appearance. I mean, you cannot. I think, even though it's contradictory, because even though the person who is modifying their body is seeking that self-worth, they're seeking that self-worth, they're doing everything they can to make themselves more worthy, or make themselves feel more worthy, or make themselves more lovable. I think it really becomes a contradiction, or not a contradiction, it becomes, what's the word? It literally reverses what it is that they're really trying to do. So they're trying to do something physically to develop self-worth and self-love and, have people to pay attention to them and feel valued and stuff like that. But I think it has an adverse effect, because what happens is when you are constantly telling yourself, I need to do this and I need to do that and I need to do this to myself in order to feel better and I need to do this to be more attractive, you're actually lowering your self-esteem that way. You are lowering your self-esteem that way. Because I believe that whatever we're doing to our body does either enhance our self-esteem or it lowers our self-esteem. If you're constantly telling yourself, or you're running through this tape in your mind, that I need to do something to look better, I need to be prettier, I need to be skinnier, I need to have better skin, I need to fix my nose, my eyes are not so good over here, I need to change this, I need to change that, that's lowering your self-esteem, because you're basically telling yourself that I'm not enough, I'm not enough, I'm not enough, I'm not enough. The more and more you say this to yourself and the more procedures you get, it's still not enough, because it comes from within. So your outward behavior is demonstrating toward yourself that I'm not enough, I'm not enough. So you're still doing that to yourself. You're really creating more of what you don't want. You are opposing that thing that you're trying to get away from so much. Okay? That's what I truly believe. You can't accept and love yourself. You can't truly accept and love yourself if you're constantly trying to alter and change and enhance. And we're speaking about artificially. We're speaking about changing the way you really look. We're not speaking about enhancing what is naturally there, or what is naturally occurring for you, or what is naturally yours. Okay, when you are constantly trying to fix and modify and change and whatever, something with your body, you cannot, your brain cannot, it's an opposing thing. It has an opposing effect because your brain cannot accept what it is that you look like and what it is that you are. And when you demonstrate that toward yourself, saying, okay, well, I'm not enough, so I'm just going to keep doing more and more and more, that's just going to create more and more thoughts about I'm not enough. And I need to keep doing things to make myself okay. But it's just a vicious cycle. And that's what I've noticed with these documentaries and these stories about plastic surgery. They're never satisfied. Never. Never, 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 never satisfied. So it must, I think I've got it. I think I've totally understood exactly what it is, because they're never satisfied. A lot of these people who have a plastic surgery addiction or body dysmorphic disorder, or severe low self-esteem, self-hate, those people cannot ever be satisfied with what they do, because they're trying to fix something on the outside which needs to be healed on the inside. That's really what it is. It needs to be healed on the inside in order for them to feel good about who they truly are. So anyway, that's what I think. That's how I know that it's damaging for you. Physically and emotionally and mentally, it's damaging, okay? We're speaking about excessive here. I have to keep reminding you. Speaking about excessive, unhealthy, artificial types of things. Okay, so how do you reverse the need? How do we reverse the need to engage in unhealthy body modification? How do we reverse it? Well, like I said, I like questions. You got to ask yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth it for you to do this? I mean, is it really worth it for your body? Is it worth it for the money? What about the money? Do you need it? Of course you don't need it. But you have to ask yourself if you really need it. But most likely, I mean, if you're at the stage where you really cannot ask yourself that question because you've become so programmed, or there's such an ingrained belief that you must do something to yourself that you think that you absolutely need it. No, you don't. Okay? Is it essential to your survival? No, it's not. It's not. But these are just questions you must ask yourself. Is it worth the health risk of dying, or becoming injured or damaged or sick? Spending the rest of your life trying to reverse what you could have stopped, what you could have avoided. Is it worth that? Of course it's not worth it. I mean, the way that I would sit here and think to myself about whether something is worth it. It's not worth it. It can't be worth it. I mean, just from my little benign story about piercing, putting little piercings in my skin, I mean, that is very, very benign. But I can see how that could have gotten out of hand. And I could see that, okay, I'm already rupturing my skin and I'm already causing some kind of infection within my skin and my body. And what if my body wasn't strong enough to fight that infection? I mean, what if I got into my bloodstream? Because that's why you get infections, right? You get an overgrowth of microorganisms, and then your body sits there and tries to fight it off. Many times, if you allow it to, it will successfully fight it off. But now, if you go to the extreme of which something is completely in your body, you know what I mean? Well, not completely in your body. Nothing is ever completely in your body. It depends on what it is, right? But if you get breast implants, for example, I mean, that is a little bit more serious than what I'm speaking about here, because that things can rupture, things can burst, okay, in your system, in your body, in your breast. your body may not like what's in it. It may not like what's in your body, and then it starts to push it out. Just like with my piercing, it tries to push it out, but I mean, that's in your breast. Can you imagine what kind of chaos would happen inside of you if you're there, your body's there and it's not happy with something, or, you have an allergic reaction to that material that's within your body? I mean, there's so many scenarios. There's so many things that you need to know about yourself and your body and what your body needs and what it doesn't need, you know? So you must ask yourself questions. Now, the next point is you must, and of course, this is the only way to reverse this, or the need, the excessive need, or wanting to do things that are unhealthy and dangerous to your bodies, to build healthy self-image. Build healthy self-image, and of course, there's a whole lot of variables and a whole lot of factors that go into building healthy self-image. I mean, you have to go throughout all your past, and just like I refer to all the time with trauma and sexual abuse and all of these different things that we've gone through. It affects how you think about yourself. It affects how you see yourself. It affects, just your understanding about who you are and what is important to you. And I've said before, like with me specifically, I grew this preoccupation with my body and my appearance, because I felt like that was all that I was worth. So this obviously goes hand in hand. If you feel like you have to be doing these extreme and dangerous things, then you're preoccupied with your appearance, and that could have come from some kind of abuse. That could have come from some trauma. It's not just sexual abuse. Other things that somebody may have said something to you. Somebody may have treated you in a certain way based off of the way you looked, and that maybe traumatized you and thought that you weren't good enough, so you have to modify it in order to be lovable and to be to have self-worth. Okay, so, but I mean, I believe it's just layers and peeling off layers, and it takes time, and there's a lot of different, there's a whole bunch of complexities surrounding this building a healthy self-image. It's within your mind, it's within your emotions, it's within the trauma and the pain you've experienced. You know what I'm saying? It's what people told you, it's what you see, it's what you've interpreted, it's what you surround yourself by. It's everything. It's so many layers and complexities and different streams that go into that river or that ocean of, your idea of yourself. So you gotta peel off these layers, and that takes time. This is not a one-time thing. This takes time to uncover the true you and know the true you, and that's what we're doing here. As we're uncovering the true you here. Okay? Getting past all the stuff that you don't need, and that's wreaking havoc on your life, or providing a distraction away from your true self. So anyway, you got to build a healthy self-image. So what I would do, or what I would start with, this is what I would start with. I mean, as you continue to do your work and your healing and, everything else that you're doing to help yourself. Because like I said, it's not a one-size-fits-all. Everybody has different ways that they heal and different ways that they uncover the true them. It's not the same for everyone. But for me, I would say the first way that you can start to build healthy self-image is positive affirmations. I know I sound like a broken record. I'm sorry. I apologize. But positive affirmations are very powerful, okay? Very, very powerful. Okay, so you have to use positive affirmations about yourself. Now here is the difference. This is something that I've never said to you before. You got to do this in front of the mirror, because this is about appearance and body image, right? So, but what I think is that you got to do this in front of the mirror. Do this in front of the mirror. And this is important, very important. Listen to what I'm saying here. You look yourself in the eyes as you say these things. It's not just you saying it to yourself or going around the house and saying it to yourself. You must look yourself in your eyes, in the mirror. This is some powerful stuff when you do this. This is some powerful, powerful stuff when you do this, because you're looking into your soul. The eyes are the windows of the soul, right? You're speaking to your spirit. You're speaking to the spirit. You're speaking to your soul, and you're allowing your soul or your spirit to come to the forefront and hear these words and help to heal you and heal your mind when you're saying these things. Okay? Because I'm telling you, I've done this to myself. I've done this with myself, and I've noticed that there is something really powerful that happens here. And the funny thing is, the other night I was watching something, and someone else was saying this. And this is not something I got from anybody. This is something that I've discovered within myself, or with myself. But someone else said this in a video about looking at yourself in the mirror in your own eyes and reciting things that you need to recite to enhance your self-esteem. And I said, wow, that must be an affirmation to me. That must be an affirmation, because I said, wow, you know, okay, it works for other people then. Most likely. It really does. So you stand in front of the mirror looking in your own eyes. Look in your eyes. Don't look at anything else, but look in your eyes. And I know sometimes it seems weird and uncomfortable and, you know, because we're not used to that, right? We're not used to looking in our own eyes, but look at your own eyes and come up with a few positive affirmations, okay, where you say, I am enough, or I am perfect, or I forgive myself for thinking that something is wrong with me. You say anything you want to say, anything you want to affirm, anything you want to heal or fix, and allow yourself to hear these words. As you're looking at yourself in the mirror, allow yourself to hear these words. Allow yourself, just feel the words inside of you. And I'm telling you, it will cause something to shift or something to come alive within you. And you may begin to cry. Most likely you'll begin to cry because it's powerful stuff. You're allowing your spirit or your soul. And there's something that happens when you tell the truth to yourself. You feel a leap, or you get goosebumps, or you get some kind of, you know, response, physiological response, that, you know what, you're saying the right things, and your soul can hear you say it, your spirit can hear you say it, and it responds. And then your human self, your humanistic self, reacts by crying because it's so powerful, right? So you say these things to yourself, and do this as many times as you can. Do this every day. Do this as much as you can. Do this every day, do this every night, or do this once a week, twice a week. Just do it. Just keep doing it. Okay? And as you continue to do this, you will develop appreciation and love for yourself and your body. You will. Because you will believe. Your mind, your spirit and soul already knows this, but your mind will begin to develop that understanding and that belief that you are enough, that you are perfect, that you don't need any enhancements or body modification, or accept yourself as you are. Say, I accept myself as I am. I am perfect as I am. And you are. You are. And that's the reason why you would cry, because you know the truth. That is the truth within yourself. You know that. And I noticed that a lot of us, especially women, but I mean for men too, but for women, you know, we are always taught that we need to do things to ourselves, and we need to do more, we need to do this, and we need to do that, and it's never enough, it's never enough. How often do you tell yourself that I'm enough, exactly as I am? And your hair may be crazy on your head, you may have acne on your skin, you may be a little bit out of shape, you know, depending on what you think about yourself. You know, things may not be perfect the way that you want to, but to sit there or to stand there and tell yourself, I'm enough, I'm perfect, you know, I forgive myself for thinking that I need to change myself or something is wrong with me. That's going to bring tears to your eyes, because how often do you nurture yourself that way by saying such good things about yourself? Not very often. But your spirit and your soul thanks you, and it lets you know that, yes, you're speaking the truth. It will let you know that you're speaking the truth about yourself. It will make itself known. So then you will not feel the need to alter your body if you keep doing this, because you'll have love and appreciation for yourself. So I think that's a really important point. I think you must do that. You must do that. You got to work on yourself. Healing is hard work, okay? You're not just going to naturally... I mean, some parts some aspects of yourself heal, but I think it comes with the work. It comes with doing the work. Okay? You're not just going to naturally heal. Everything's just going to heal and things are going to be reversed. Your patterns and ideas are going to reverse. And those deep traumas and pains are just going to heal itself on its own. No, no. You have to work at it. And then the spirit will do the rest. So that's what I think. Now, the next point is, and I know, like, I mean, absolutely, there's different things that we would love, we prefer our bodies to look a certain way, but it's not necessarily, if it's not really a total, it's not a need, and it's not something, oh, I must do it. If you must do things where you want to enhance different parts of your body or your appearance, you can take more of a healthier approach, You can take more of a healthier approach. Okay? What I'm saying is, instead of doing all these dangerous things and these artificial things and interfering with your body's natural rhythms and stuff like that, you can take a healthier approach, because I believe nature has everything we want, everything we need, everything, anything you could think of. Nature has everything. So you can, well, first of all, let me say, you can use exercise. Did you know that? There's certain things about your body that you want to change. You can use exercise. I mean, that's not going to totally modify or change the way you look, and that's not what I'm speaking about. We're speaking about enhancement here with this point, because I'm not for saying, oh, you need to change the way you look and to change the way you naturally are, but to enhance what is already there, to bring out more of what it is you want within yourself that you naturally have. You can use exercise. And I found it incredible, because when I started to exercise, when I really started to exercise, I was so shocked at how my body transformed. I was so amazed at how my body transformed. I didn't think my stomach could be that flat. I didn't think that I could be that toned and my body could be that fit. I was really shocked at how I turned out. Also because I've generally always had somewhat of a, I wouldn't say chubby face, but more of a, rounder face. But when I worked out, I got a really more defined, slimmer face, and I said, wow, that looks great. It was still me. This is what I'm trying to point out to you. It was still me, but it was more of a better version of me physically. So I found that exercise helped me tremendously. It just gave me a better version of myself that I already was. My body was still my body, but it's just that it developed and it defined and it toned itself in a way where I was actually really pleased with the results. So use exercise. This is another one, natural herbal plant-based products, pills, or supplements. This is natural stuff. Some people want fuller, thicker hair. Some people want, like I said, maybe you want a slimmer body or you want a more fit body. Maybe take things like biotin. Biotin is a natural vitamin. It's a B vitamin that helps with metabolism, metabolizing food, breaking down food. It also helps with the growth of your hair, your skin, and your nails. Okay? And maybe if you want, it's a natural supplement. So maybe if you want to enhance those different aspects of your body, maybe you can use that. Like I said, not everybody is the same. Everybody does not, respond the same to the same things. And some people, absolutely, their body does not like certain things where it's okay for other people. But maybe take a little bit of biotin, supplement of biotin if you want your nails to grow faster and longer, stronger and healthier, stronger hair, faster, thicker hair, maybe, a slimmer figure, more fit figure, biotin. Take some extra supplements of biotin. There's another thing called maca root. Maca root is something I also want to mention. Because I tried that once and I realized that it's a natural, it's like a root. It's like I don't remember the word. It starts with the root word is tube. I'm not sure I can't remember what it is. It's like a tube something. Whatever. It's very similar to yam or potato. It's that type of thing. It's like a root, but it's also like it's like a potato or a yam or something like that. And it's naturally occurring. And what that does is it enhances the female attributes within your body. So what it really does is, let's say if you have a little bit more testosterone than usual, or progesterone than usual. Those are the other hormones that we have: estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone. Okay, and of course, women, we have a lot more estrogen than we do have testosterone. So what maca root does is it enhances more of what we naturally have, which is estrogen. So it brings up the level of estrogen to a higher level. So that's where we develop more female, or it enhances our female attributes. So if you wanted more of a womanly, quote unquote, womanly figure, it helps you to do that. So you may get bigger hips, or you may get a bigger butt, you get bigger breasts, you just get more of a feminine, female embodiment. That's what it helps you to do. This is a natural product, and I've taken it, and I've seen the difference with my body for sure. I stopped, but I don't really know why I stopped. I guess I didn't need to, because I guess if you take too much, it can really make you put on weight. But everybody's different. I have a very, very petite body, so if I take a lot of something, it can really, really affect me. I don't really need to take that much. But maca root was something that it definitely enhanced those female attributes, because it brought up my estrogen levels. And this is natural stuff, guys. Natural stuff. Increases your sex drive as well. This is natural stuff. Natural stuff. So that's my example. You can use natural products. And I mean, there's tons of other things. You can use. But maca root and biotin, I know for sure that I've used, that enhances my body. And it changes my body. Okay? But it naturally does that from the inside, through vitamins and things that your body reacts to naturally. Okay? So, I mean, of course, it may not be nearly as drastic or extreme and in terms of results. And it may be a more subtle, and it occurs more slowly because it's natural. But that's what you need. That's better for your body. Okay, and you know that you're not really damaging yourself. And of course, I mean, if you have some kind of, if it's something that you find that you don't really want to take anymore, you could stop taking it. But there's no really adverse effects to it, because it's natural. It's a natural occurring substance. So if you don't like it, well, you just stop taking it. That's all. And your body goes back to the way it was before. Cool. So that's what I would say for that. Okay? So just know that, ultimately what I'm saying is that you just need to know that you are perfect naturally the way you are. You are. Okay? You are perfect naturally as you are. You don't need to, this body modification and all these things that we do to ourselves, and it's not necessary at all. It's not necessary. This is something that we do because we think that it will make us better, or be better, or get more love, or feel more worthy, or heighten our self-esteem, or make us, you know what I mean? It doesn't work that way. You have to start from the inside. You have to love yourself and accept yourself perfectly as you are naturally. So, and also, when you love and you accept yourself, it's a lot less risky. A lot less risky, a lot less costly, and anxiety producing to just love and accept yourself as you are. Okay? It's okay to be you. It's okay to be you. So that's all I have to say about that. That's all for today, for this topic of body modification, or excessive body modification. Anyway, so thanks for listening to A Woman's Guide to Reclaiming Wholeness After Sexual Abuse. Now, if you enjoyed this, you can subscribe to this podcast to hear more episodes. Next week, we will explore how to overcome self-criticism. So be sure to tune in. And until next time, take care.